An African inventor has unveiled a self-powered car, one that requires no charging, no gasoline, and no external energy source. It sounds impossible, but the technology behind it has already left engineers and investors worldwide stunned. This invention has the potential to change not just transportation, but the entire global energy economy. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to see isn't just an invention, it's a glimpse into the future. What if I told you that a car exists that never needs to be refueled or recharged? Imagine never stopping at a gas station, never plugging into a charging port, never worrying about running out of power. It sounds like science fiction, but it's now a reality. This is more than just a new vehicle, it's an energy revolution that threatens to shake the very foundations of the automotive and energy industries. At the heart of this seismic shift is the Scythe Free Energy Vehicle, a groundbreaking innovation that defies everything we thought we knew about energy. Unlike any car before it, this vehicle generates its own power while in motion, eliminating the need for traditional fuel sources, or even rechargeable battery systems. This is an entirely self-sustaining system, and it's about to disrupt every industry that depends on fuel or electricity for transportation. The implications are staggering. For years, the global automotive market has been focused on transitioning from internal combustion engines to electric power, but this leap renders even the latest EV technology obsolete. The Scythe Free Energy Vehicle has left engineers from leading car companies and energy executives scrambling to figure out how to respond. Could this be the breakthrough that forces Tesla, oil conglomerates, and power grid companies to rethink their entire business models? Or is it an impossible claim that will fail under scrutiny? How does this car work? Most experts believed that such a technology was impossible until they saw it in action. Traditional electric vehicles rely on massive lithium-ion battery packs that must be recharged through external power sources. This means that EV owners are still dependent on charging stations or power grids, making long-distance travel a logistical challenge. But the Scythe Free Energy Vehicle operates differently. It uses an entirely new method of energy generation called microsonic energy technology. This technology captures radio waves from the environment and converts them into a continuous source of power. These waves are all around us, emitted from the atmosphere, electronic devices, and even cosmic radiation. The car's onboard system harnesses this untapped energy, converts it into usable power, and keeps the motor running indefinitely. This eliminates range anxiety, battery degradation, and the need for any external charging infrastructure. Naturally, skeptics have questioned whether this technology aligns with established scientific principles. How can a vehicle produce energy without an input source? The answer lies in its ability to capture and convert existing electromagnetic energy efficiently. While it may seem like magic, it is simply an advanced form of energy conversion, one that has never before been applied to a full-scale vehicle. As more engineers witness this technology in action, disbelief is turning into curiosity, and curiosity is turning into serious attention. A car that powers your entire home. Imagine using your car to power your house instead of your house powering your car. In addition to eliminating fuel costs, the Scythe Free Energy Vehicle is capable of producing enough power to supply electricity to homes. This is not just about transportation, it's about revolutionizing how we consume and distribute energy. The system can generate up to 15 kilowatts of power, enough to run household appliances, lighting, and essential electronics. That means in remote areas where access to the power grid is unreliable, the vehicle can serve as a mobile energy station. In emergency situations, such as power outages caused by storms or grid failures, families could rely on their vehicles for electricity. The potential applications extend to off-grid living, allowing people to live independently without relying on traditional power sources. This concept represents a major shift from how energy has been structured for over a century. Traditionally, energy is produced at centralized locations, such as power plants, and then distributed through vast electrical grids. This invention decentralizes energy production, allowing individuals to become self-sufficient in ways never before possible. If widely adopted, it could reduce dependence on power companies, lower energy costs, and eliminate the need for backup generators in homes and businesses. The Scythe Free Energy Vehicle challenges both the automotive and energy industries. It's no longer just about transportation efficiency, it's about redefining how energy itself is generated and consumed. Is this the biggest breakthrough in energy history, or is it too good to be true? The unveiling of the Scythe Free Energy Vehicle has sent shockwaves through the scientific community, the automotive industry, and global energy markets. Some experts hail it as the most significant technological advancement of the century. Others question whether it violates the fundamental laws of physics. For over a century, the world's energy systems have depended on fossil fuels, electricity grids, and massive infrastructure. Oil companies, utility providers, and even governments have built their economies around the idea that people must purchase energy to power their daily lives. However, this new self-powered vehicle challenges that dependency, threatening to disrupt multiple trillion-dollar industries overnight. A car that never needs gasoline, charging stations, or an external power source is a radical departure from traditional transportation. If this technology proves viable, it could make electric vehicles, hybrid cars, and gasoline-powered engines completely obsolete. This scenario is an existential threat to the oil and gas industry, which has spent decades shaping global economies and investing heavily in extraction, refining, and distribution. Even electric vehicles, which were once considered the future of sustainable transportation, face a crisis. Companies like Tesla, General Motors, and Toyota have collectively invested billions of dollars into battery research, charging networks, and renewable energy solutions. But if a car can generate its own power indefinitely, the entire business model built around battery-powered vehicles collapses. No more charging stations, no more lithium mining, no more battery degradation, just a continuous self-sustaining energy loop. This also spells trouble for the electricity market. Utility companies profit from consumers who pay for electricity, whether for charging a car or powering a home. But what happens when a vehicle can generate and distribute power on its own? The shift would allow individuals to become independent energy producers, eliminating monthly power bills and reducing reliance on national grids. This invention could be the most disruptive energy breakthrough in history. And while some celebrate its potential, others are preparing to fight against it. The question is, will the world embrace this revolution, or will powerful industries try to suppress it? What if I told you that one of the most groundbreaking energy innovations was created by a self-taught inventor? The man behind the self-powered car is not a professor at a prestigious institution or a billionaire tech mogul. His name is Maxwell Chikumbutso, and his journey, from an impoverished childhood in Zimbabwe to pioneering one of the most disruptive technologies of the century, is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in Zimbabwe, Maxwell faced hardships early in life. Financial struggles forced him to leave school at the age of 14, cutting short his access to formal education. But what he lacked in academic training, he more than made up for with raw ingenuity and an insatiable curiosity for technology. Instead of textbooks and laboratories, Maxwell turned to scrap materials. He disassembled old radios and electronic devices to understand how they worked. His persistence led to an incredible realization. He could build his own devices from scratch. Despite his lack of formal engineering education, Maxwell quickly made a name for himself. He built his first working radio transmitter as a teenager, broadcasting over short distances. That early success fueled his passion for electrical engineering. He then went on to develop a digital navigation system, an accomplishment that amazed those who doubted his abilities. But his most astonishing breakthrough was still to come: an energy system that could generate power from the environment, without any external fuel source. His work led to the development of the self-powered vehicle, a machine unlike anything the automotive industry had ever seen. Unlike conventional electric cars that rely on massive battery packs and regular charging, Maxwell's invention harnesses energy from surrounding radio waves, converting them into usable power in real time. No gasoline, no charging stations, no external power sources. This technology had the potential to upend everything the world knew about energy and transportation. When you disrupt trillion-dollar industries, not everyone welcomes you. Maxwell Chikumbutso quickly learned that revolutionizing the energy sector would not be easy. His groundbreaking invention was met with skepticism, disbelief, and in some cases, outright hostility. The biggest challenge came when he attempted to secure patents for his work. Many institutions rejected his applications, arguing that his energy conversion technology defied established scientific principles. Even as he demonstrated working prototypes, critics claimed his findings were impossible under the known laws of thermodynamics. The skepticism extended beyond scientific institutions. Some industry leaders viewed Maxwell's invention as a direct threat to their long-standing business models. Corporations and powerful stakeholders in the energy sector control the global market. If a technology emerged that could provide energy freely, without requiring fuel or charging infrastructure, it would undermine the multi-trillion-dollar industries built around oil, gas, and lithium-ion battery production. Reports began to surface that corporations were attempting to discredit Maxwell's work, dismissing it as pseudoscience. Others speculated that efforts were being made to suppress the technology rather than validate it. But despite these roadblocks, Maxwell refused to back down. Instead of waiting for validation from traditional institutions, he took his technology directly to the people. His next move would leave an undeniable mark on the world. People thought it was fake until they saw it with their own eyes. Maxwell knew that the only way to silence his skeptics was through undeniable proof. So he staged a live demonstration in Zimbabwe that would change everything. A crowd gathered to witness what some believed was impossible. Engineers, investors, and industry insiders stood in anticipation as Maxwell unveiled his self-powered vehicle. The car started, moved effortlessly, and continued to run, without any external fuel source. But what happened next stunned even the most doubtful observers. To further prove the capabilities of his invention, Maxwell connected external devices to the car: a television, a refrigerator, even an entire small house. All of them were powered by the vehicle's energy system. This was not just a mode of transportation, it was a mobile power station capable of generating energy for everyday use. The reaction was immediate. Skepticism turned into intrigue. Engineers who had dismissed the idea as fantasy now wanted to understand how the system worked. Investors who had been hesitant to back such an unconventional project started expressing serious interest. The conversation shifted from "does this technology work?" to "how can it be scaled and implemented worldwide?" But as excitement around Maxwell's invention grew, so did the stakes. The implications of his work extended far beyond a single demonstration. A new question emerged: what would this mean for the biggest players in the electric vehicle industry? Tesla changed the industry. But what happens if electric vehicles become obsolete overnight? For years, Tesla and other electric vehicle manufacturers have operated under the assumption that battery technology is the future of sustainable transportation. Billions of dollars have been invested in charging networks, lithium-ion battery production, and renewable energy solutions designed for electric cars. But Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered vehicle challenges that entire framework. Tesla's success hinges on a world where electric cars need to be recharged. Charging stations, battery swapping infrastructure, and grid-based electricity are all fundamental components of the EV revolution. But what happens if those elements become unnecessary? If a car can generate its own power indefinitely, the need for charging infrastructure disappears. Range anxiety, gone. Battery degradation, no longer an issue. Long charging times, a thing of the past. This is more than just an engineering breakthrough. It's a paradigm shift that could force Tesla and other automakers to rethink their entire business models. If self-powered vehicles become viable at scale, battery-powered cars may no longer be the most efficient solution. That raises a crucial question. Will companies like Tesla adapt and embrace this new technology, or will they attempt to resist it, in favor of protecting their existing investments? The world is now watching closely. What started as an improbable idea from a self-taught inventor in Zimbabwe has turned into a technology that could disrupt the most powerful industries on the planet, but the road ahead is filled with challenges. From industrial resistance to scientific scrutiny, one thing is certain. Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car has changed the conversation, and there is no turning back. There's a reason why some industries do not want this to succeed. History has shown that revolutionary technologies are often met with resistance, not because they don't work, but because they threaten the existing power structure. Governments and corporations have always had a strong grip on energy production. From the rise of coal and oil to the modern push for electric vehicles, every major energy shift has been controlled and monetized by those in power. So what happens when a technology emerges that does not fit into their business model? When Nikola Tesla proposed wireless electricity, he was shut down. When Stanley Meyer claimed to have developed a car that ran on water, his work mysteriously disappeared. Every time an innovation has challenged the status quo of energy dependence, it has faced enormous pushback, suppression, and in some cases, complete erasure from history. Could the same thing happen here? Could this self-powered car be banned, heavily regulated, or secretly bought out by the very industries it threatens? It's not an impossible scenario. If a trillion-dollar industry sees its survival at risk, it will fight back with everything it has. One possibility is outright suppression. If governments classify the technology as a threat to national energy security, they could impose strict regulations that make mass production nearly impossible. Another possibility is corporate acquisition. A major energy company could buy the rights to the technology only to bury it, ensuring that energy markets remain under their control. The fight between innovation and corporate control is nothing new. The real question is whether this self-powered vehicle can survive the same forces that have stopped radical energy advancements in the past. For too long, Africa has been seen as a follower in global innovation. But this invention is turning it into a leader. Zimbabwe is now home to a breakthrough that could reshape the world's energy landscape. And for the first time, an African nation is at the forefront of a technological revolution. Africa has long struggled with energy access. Many regions still experience power shortages, unreliable grids, and high electricity costs. Rural communities are often left in the dark, and economic growth has been stifled by a lack of infrastructure. But what if that could change? What if Africa could leap ahead, not just catching up with the world, but surpassing it? This self-powered vehicle is more than just a new way to travel. It is a symbol of independence. Instead of relying on foreign energy imports, Zimbabwe could become a hub for sustainable technology, leading the charge in a new era of energy freedom. The implications are massive. If this technology can be mass-produced in Africa, it could provide millions with access to clean, unlimited power. It could replace outdated electricity grids, power entire villages, and create an economy where energy is no longer a scarce resource but an abundant one. The shift in global innovation is undeniable. Africa is proving that it is not just a consumer of technology, but a creator. A continent once overlooked in the tech world now holds one of the most disruptive inventions of the modern age. And while Western nations scramble to keep up, Africa is moving forward. Could China secretly be planning to control this technology? It wouldn't be the first time a major power has tried to dominate a revolutionary invention, and if there's any country with both the interest and resources to do so, it's China. China currently dominates battery and electric vehicle production. Companies like Contemporary Amperex Technology, KTL, and BYD control the majority of the world's battery supply. And China has spent years positioning itself as the global leader in clean transportation. But this self-powered vehicle threatens to change everything. If cars no longer need batteries, China's electric vehicle empire takes a major hit. Battery production, lithium mining, and charging infrastructure, all of it becomes far less relevant in a world where vehicles generate their own power. That is a direct challenge to China's economic strategy. So, what will China do? Will it try to acquire the technology? Will it partner with Zimbabwe? Or will it develop its own version? Reports suggest that Chinese companies are already investigating the science behind this car, looking for ways to either replicate or control it. If China can be the first to commercialize self-powered transportation, it could maintain its position as the leader in the global automotive industry. But there is another possibility, one that has played out in history before. Instead of embracing the technology, China could work to slow its adoption. If this car disrupts the battery market too quickly, it could destabilize an industry that China has spent years building. The coming years will reveal whether China sees this as an opportunity or a threat. But one thing is clear, this invention is too powerful to be ignored. Imagine a world where every device from your smartphone to entire skyscrapers powers itself without needing external charging. The very foundation of modern energy consumption would shift overnight. No more reliance on centralized power grids, no more energy shortages, no more expensive infrastructure to distribute electricity. This breakthrough could turn self-sustaining energy from a futuristic concept into an everyday reality. Self-powered devices could usher in the rise of fully autonomous smart cities, where homes, transportation systems, and entire industries generate their own energy without external input. The implications for urban development are enormous. No more blackouts, reduced reliance on fossil fuels, the ability to build cities in previously uninhabitable regions. The transformation wouldn't stop at cities, the entire global energy economy could collapse. Energy giants that have controlled the world's power supply for over a century could find themselves obsolete. The demand for fuel, massive power plants, and large-scale electrical infrastructure would shrink dramatically. Governments, many of which derive significant revenue from energy taxation, would be forced to reconsider how they maintain economic stability. However, such a shift would not be welcomed by everyone. Industries that have thrived on the control of energy markets would fight to maintain their dominance. lobbying for regulations and policies that could slow or even halt the adoption of microsonic energy technology. The battle between innovation and industrial resistance is just beginning. Is this the next internet, the next artificial intelligence, or just another failed dream? The race to harness self-sustaining energy has begun, and the world will never be the same. The world stands on the edge of a potential revolution. But revolutions are never smooth. When new technology disrupts trillion-dollar industries, the existing power structures don't just step aside, they fight back. Some will try to stop it, some will try to control it, and some will try to profit from it before the rest of the world even realizes what's happening. So, what happens next? Let's explore 3 possible future scenarios. The suppression strategy, keeping the world dependent on energy markets. In this scenario, powerful energy corporations and governments work together to suppress the technology. This wouldn't be the first time a game-changing invention was buried before it could reach mass adoption. Here's how suppression could unfold. Scientific discreditation. The first step would be to discredit the science behind the invention. High-profile scientists and media outlets might label it as pseudoscience. Major engineering institutions could refuse to validate it. Skeptics would argue that it violates the laws of physics, even if real-world demonstrations prove otherwise. The goal? Create doubt before people even consider believing. Legal and regulatory barriers. If that doesn't work, governments could introduce strict regulations that make mass production nearly impossible. New laws could ban unverified energy systems for safety reasons. International patents could be blocked or delayed indefinitely. The technology could be labeled a national security risk, preventing it from being exported or developed openly. These barriers wouldn't need to be permanent, just long enough to ensure that existing energy industries maintain control. Corporate buyouts and technology lockdowns. If suppression through laws and science doesn't work, there's always another option. Buy the technology and bury it. A global energy giant could acquire Maxwell Chikumbutso's patents for billions of dollars, only to lock them away forever. The technology could be kept in corporate vaults labeled as unproven, while industries continue to profit from oil, gas, and lithium. Even governments might intervene, offering lucrative contracts to ensure the technology never reaches the masses. In short, this scenario sees self-powered energy crushed before it has a chance to change the world. But what if suppression fails? Controlled adoption. The technology is released, but only to the wealthy. If the technology proves too powerful to ignore, the world's elite might allow it to be developed, but only for the privileged few. Instead of making free energy available to everyone, corporations could commercialize it at extreme prices. Luxury self-powered vehicles might sell for millions of dollars, only accessible to the ultra-rich. Private corporations could own and lease microsonic energy generators, forcing people to rent energy instead of owning it outright. Governments could introduce heavy taxation on free energy, ensuring that people still have to pay for something that should be limitless. The result? The energy revolution happens, but only for those who can afford it. Right now, energy is centralized, meaning that a few companies control the supply and distribution. But if every car, home, and device could generate its own power, those companies would lose control. To prevent that, governments and corporations could limit public access to microsonic energy technology, ensuring that only a few manufacturers have the rights to produce it. Require monthly licensing fees for energy generation, so that even though the power is free, you still have to pay for permission to use it. Launch government-controlled power grids that still manage distribution, even though the energy could be generated anywhere. This scenario allows progress to happen, but in a way that keeps power and control in the hands of the few. But what if the world refuses to accept this? A true energy revolution, a world without power struggles. This is the most optimistic scenario, and the most dangerous to those who profit from energy dependency. Here's what would happen if microsonic energy became open source and freely available to everyone. If anyone, anywhere, could generate infinite free energy, the demand for oil, gas, coal, and electricity grids would collapse overnight. Gas stations would shut down, coal power plants would be abandoned, nations that rely on oil exports would face economic devastation, the energy industry as we know it would be dead. Energy has always been controlled by governments and corporations, but if every home, car, and factory produced its own power, control would shift to the people. No more electricity bills, no more fuel costs, no more wars over oil. Entire nations could become energy independent, reshaping global politics forever. And with free energy, humanity could focus on new frontiers. advanced AI systems powered indefinitely, space exploration without the need for rocket fuel limitations, unlimited clean water using self-powered desalination. But here's the real question. Would the world's most powerful corporations allow this to happen? If history teaches us anything, it's that those who control energy do not give up their power easily. If microsonic energy spreads too fast, we could see massive disinformation campaigns labeling the technology as a hoax. Governments seizing and controlling energy research, restricting access to the public. Energy conglomerates launching legal battles to block production, delaying widespread adoption for decades. Even if the technology is real, it won't be an easy fight to bring it to the masses. We are standing at the beginning of something bigger than the internet, bigger than AI, and bigger than anything we've seen in modern history. A future where every home, every car, every device powers itself indefinitely. No charging stations, no power plants, no energy bills. If this becomes a reality, it will be the greatest technological leap forward since the discovery of electricity itself. But the biggest question remains, will the world accept this revolution, or will it fight to stop it? One thing is certain, the battle for free energy has only just begun. Imagine this. It's the year 2030. The world has changed, but not in the way we expected. The technology to power our homes, our cars, and our lives without fuel or electricity bills was discovered years ago. But where is it? Why are we still paying for energy? Why are electric cars still tied to charging networks owned by corporations? And why are stories of self-powered vehicles and limitless energy sources disappearing from news outlets, search engines, and mainstream conversations? This is not the first time humanity has stood on the edge of a breakthrough, only for those in power to bury it. Because energy is not just a resource, it is control. Every time the world has neared true energy independence, something mysterious has happened. Nikola Tesla's dream of free wireless electricity shut down. Stanley Meyer's water-powered car, his research vanished. Cold fusion, declared impossible before real tests were even allowed. And now Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered vehicle? Some believe it exists. Others believe it's been silenced. One thing is clear, too many people stand to lose if the world becomes energy independent. Right now, a war is being fought in the shadows. One side wants to release this technology to the world, giving free energy to everyone. The other side will do whatever it takes to keep it locked away, because when people no longer depend on energy markets, corporations lose trillions. When entire nations can power themselves, governments lose control. And when humanity is free from oil, gas, and lithium, the balance of power shifts forever. If you found this video interesting, make sure to like and share it with others. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think this technology could change the world? And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.